the RO going in the background. Got 2 totes of sap to do today. This one, which is already about half RO'd, and then this one. So I got started off with about 400 gallons or so of raw sap. Boiling, going to be drawing off some finished syrup here in a little bit, hopefully. So, figured I'd bring you guys along. Had some questions on the last video I just put up this morning about the RO. So, if anyone shows up to the live here that has a question on it, drop her in the comments. Other than that, I'm going to sit here and watch the boil. Steam's not quite as impressive as it was the other day, but the wind's whipping it off pretty quick. Let me show you the pan though. Might find it interesting. If you joined the live last time, you saw it was pretty light colored. This time it's significantly darker. Syrup actually gets darker as the season progresses. The very, very first batch is almost like Bud Light level color. And by the end of the season, it's darker than Guinness. So it's kind of an interesting process. But for now, it's still in between. So I watch that, fiddle with the drip rate, make sure the head tank is feeding it properly. Keep an eye on the RO system, make sure the pressure's at the right amount. And chill. Sometimes there'll be a cold snack in the hand, but not at the moment. It's still early. Worked all night, so if I had a cold snack or two, I would be sleeping rather than watching the pan, and that can be a bad day. If you fall asleep and you're not paying attention to the pan and that thing boils over, oh, not only do you lose a whole lot of syrup out of the deal, but it is hours and hours of cleaning trying to get that thing back ready to use again. I did that last year right at the end of season. I thought I could get out and do a little projecting, and nope, that was a bad idea. So I generally pick days that I can either sit out here and watch it in person, or at least be able to come back and forth every couple minutes. You know, spend 10 minutes inside making lunch or whatever and come back out. If I can't for a couple hours, then I just don't boil. Larry, nice to see you in. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it, man. It's a beautiful day here. It's just about cloudless skies and about 50. Yesterday, on the other hand, holy moly, it rained torrents. I had some 5-gallon buckets sitting here and ended up about 2.5 inches in the bottom of each one in a matter of 4 or 5 hours. It was a ton. So I ended up putting this canopy up that you see above me, trying to protect the pan. Some rainwater got into it. I mean, I can boil it back off, but that just slows things down. So I put this up, and today it doesn't need it, but it still has a decent chance of rain coming up in the next couple of days, so I figured I'd leave it up and just see. Anyone in here have any questions on the reverse osmosis system, especially if you ended up watching that video from this morning? I did a bit of a review on it, but I'd be happy to answer questions or show it off some more. Has that humming buzz noise. If I get too close to it, it's a little bit annoying, but by all means, I'll show it. Larry from Louisiana. I bet it's a little bit warmer down there than today. I don't think you're probably not wearing a hoodie like I am. But yeah, you're more than welcome to come up or shoot me an email. I can always mail it. It mails pretty effectively. It's not light, but it works. I've shipped it to Puerto Rico. I've shipped it to Netherlands, actually. And I've shipped it down to Louisiana for someone else, too. Texas, California, all over the place. It's a lot of fun. Well, let me check on the RO system just a moment. All right. Had to make sure the pan wasn't going to boil over too. There's a little rubber disc in that, well, foam, I guess, in the float box that I ended up pretty well shredding with power washing from cleaning it last year after that big boil over I had. And now it doesn't effectively shut it off, so I have to use the valve to keep the timing right. I don't want to put too much in, and then it kind of floods the pan and makes it so it's not boiling as effectively. Too little, and you're gonna burn. So, gotta keep an eye on it. Aussie chick, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. 80 degrees and 4 to 5 inches of rain. Whew. Yeah, that's a lot warmer than here, but interesting, you also got the rainstorm. A lot of areas seemed like it got hammered pretty good on this one. It was a lot more intense than I've experienced, and a true thunderstorm too, which is unusual for Michigan in March. And there actually was a tornado that touched down I think it was about 100 miles from me here in Michigan. I can't remember the last time I saw or heard of a tornado in March. I mean, that's normally like an April, May type of thing, so that's pretty bizarre. But it's weather. You never know what to expect out of weather for sure. But enough looking at me. Let's look at the pan again. That's always more interesting. Like I was saying earlier, it's significantly more dark than even the last live I did a couple days ago. But this wind, while it might be a little noisy, sure is making the steam come off that pan quicker. So it's probably going to be a bit better evaporation rate today than other days, which I appreciate, especially because yesterday we collected almost 500 gallons of sap. I think it was about 475 gallons. Definitely was a lot. And the temperature in a couple days is supposed to end up hitting, I think tomorrow the high is supposed to be 61, 62. So I definitely want to get this stuff done so it doesn't spoil. But yeah, also I should have that foam gasket in the mail tomorrow or Tuesday, which should certainly make it a lot easier instead of having to play with that valve all the time. I mean, it works, but I'd rather not have to fiddle with it if I could help it. But I should be probably pulling off finished syrup here in another, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes or so. Probably 10 minutes. I'll be pulling off another gallon or two. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to end up filtering it off. I do a little bit of a pre-filter going into that stock pot, but the main filter press, I got a whole 5-plate filter press that I use. It's pretty cool. I'll take a video of that. But it's effective, but I was trying to see if I can do a little bit more per batch. We'll see. Playing around with a few things. 351. Thanks for coming in, my friend. That was some beautiful fish you've caught in the last couple days. Did you end up keeping those fish, or did you end up tossing them back? I didn't get to watch all of the live because I was at work, but looked like some nice fish. What's everyone else up to today? If everyone else had a lot of that rain too, and today's nice, gotta get out and do something. Of course, Cleveland. I try to watch everybody. I got a lot of channels I follow. I try to watch everybody. But especially with live, sometimes I can't watch all of them. I work a odd rotating schedule, and so sometimes I can watch some. Sometimes I'm busy, so do what I can though. Plus, I don't get out fishing very much, so I like watching everyone else catch fish. I like eating them, but I don't catch them very much. But sitting in my driveway, listening to the RO hum. But man, that is such a game changer for our maple syrup making. That pan that I have, I can get about 19 to 20 gallons of evaporation per hour. So 19 gallons of water coming off. That right there is doing more like 40 or 50 gallons of water an hour. It is something else. I can take a 275 gallon tote all the way down to 75 gallons before it even touches the pan. So that saves a whole lot of natural gas and a whole lot of time and vastly speeds up this process. It takes a little getting used to, and you have to sit here and listen to it, but as effective as it is, cannot complain. Frank, hello, how you doing today, man? $3.51. Are you going to get out fishing some more today, or are you done for the day? I know a bunch of lives today that were going on for fishing. A couple of the channels I follow, Reel of Life had one going. Fishing with Steve had one going. 351 had one. A couple others too. It was quite a busy fishing day for a lot of people. I was stuck at work, but you know. Sometimes you gotta work. Although fishing's more fun. But I'll be doing this boil today for probably about 8 or 9 hours. Gonna definitely keep busy. But gotta get the sap through, gotta make the syrup, and then I'm gonna filter it off so I can get selling it. I'm hoping this year, I got 232 taps out. So roughly 220 trees. A couple trees I have 2 in each. I'm hoping to collect somewhere upwards of 4,000 gallons of sap and making something to the tune of probably 90 gallons of finished syrup. That's kind of my goal. It's so weather dependent though that it's hard to predict exactly what it's going to be, but that's kind of the goal. And my kids and I made a roadside stand that we end up putting out right there. Well, the post got knocked over when I was plowing snow. But I put the roadside stand right there. Do a fairly good business because it is a busy road. Generally, I'm sold out by probably about June or so, I would say. A couple years I went into July, but most of the time, May or June, I'm sold out. Got a lot of repeat customers that look forward to it every year. But it's been such a beautiful day. Good day for working, good day for playing, good day for just being outside and enjoying life. I would take you guys out when I'm go collect and show you the river, because with all that rain, the river just flooded badly, but my signal out there is not great, and then the video quality just tanks. It gets super grainy, so that's no fun to watch. But it is definitely interesting watching the creek. I got some videos I'm going to try to make into a long form video, put up on the channel. The river went from being about 30-40 feet wide that it normally is to about 200 feet wide. Flooded a whole big area. It's cool to see, but some of my taps some of the trees I could tap are actually down in the floodplain area. 2 of them are about 1.5 feet deep in water right now. So if I had tapped them my normal height, the bottom of the bag would be floating in the water. and then you have to go get chest waders or something just to get out there and collect. Not nearly as much fun. But that's why I don't end up tapping those 5. I think there's 5 trees down there that I could end up just leaving them alone, because a lot of years this happens. I think 2 years ago was the worst. It was just the ice never cleared out below downstream, and then we had a massive rain just like we had yesterday, and it just flooded everything. But my best running trees, or some of my best running trees, are actually on the bank going down on that river. I don't know why the ones on the top are good, but the ones like halfway down the hill are just twice as good sometimes. Well, at least half. And I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that it's got better drainage. I don't know. But for whatever reason, those trees are significantly better producers of sap. It's kind of different, but it's annoying too, because that means I have to carry all that back up the hill. I'd rather the ones on the top be the best ones, but that's nature for you. So what is everyone else up to? We got 5 people in the house. What's everyone else up to? Everyone enjoying their weekend? Or Saturday if you work the weekends. I do a lot of that myself, and I work a rotating schedule, but hopefully someone's doing some stuff that's more interesting than just sitting here watching them pan boil, but video and sound's great in South Louisiana. I'm glad it's working. I'm right up by the house, so the Wi-Fi is a little bit better here. Signal from the tower is a little sketchy sometimes, so the first 2 lives I did this year, well, actually the first 2 lives for the channel, were out tapping the trees. And even though I was only a couple hundred feet from the house, of course off the Wi-Fi, and the tower signal was terrible. And man, going back watching those videos, they were grainy. So trying to do more of the lives up close. See. Plus, this time of year, I'm doing more boiling than anything else. I'll go collect, and I mean, it takes the whole family about 3 to 4 hours to collect everything, depending on how much sap there is total. At least a solid 3 hours. And then we sit here for the next like 15 hours boiling it. But when it's yesterday, we're trying to dodge the raindrops and collect. And thankfully, the rain held off until we were done, but it was a lot of rain. I'm gonna spin you guys around again. I want to go check the temperature on the pan. Curious, should be getting pretty close to drawing some off. No, got a little bit longer yet. Looking for 7 degrees above boiling temp of water of 212. So looking for 219. Once it's 219, I pull it off. Or at least close to 219. I shoot for slightly above 219 and then drop it just to below 219. And then I get to this and I'll do the final checks here. I got a new density meter this year that I want to try out, because technically syrup has to be 66% density. 66% sugar content, which ends up being 219 plus or minus a couple decimal points. 219.2, 219.3, something like that. So it's easy to get to 219 on the thermometer, and then I'll double check it with the refractometer before I end up jarring this. That's all going to be probably tomorrow, but we'll see. My helpers aren't here today, or else I'd try to do it today, but it's a bit of a process. But that's all the syrup from the year so far. This I believe holds about 11 gallons, so I'm going to guess there's probably about 8 gallons of syrup there. That's a lot of pancakes. Or French toast. Or waffles. Or one of the things I really like to do is put it in my coffee. If I want to have sweetened coffee, put about a teaspoon of that in the bottom of my mug. That's delicious. And interestingly, I just tried for the first time this year, maple mead. So it's a fermented drink. It's about 13-14%. But it's made normally from honey, but any sugar source can work. I have a good friend that made some up. It was his first batch too. And wow, it turned out smooth. Not super mapley, but very smooth and very sweet. It was a good time. But he used up about a quarter of my syrup, and that was one of the most unique ways I've ever had maple syrup. Sometimes I'll put it in my ice cream too, like drizzle it on like you would caramel or fudge. That's pretty tasty too. It's a little bit runny, so I'll leave it like I'll try freezing it before I put it on my ice cream so it doesn't melt the ice cream. But whew, if you've never tried it, give it a try. It is delicious and different too than the standard stuff. Yeah, hopefully in another couple minutes I'll end up drawing some off. It's not quite, it's like at 217, 218 right now. But it'll be fun. Give it another 5 minutes or so. Just because it evaporates so much better off the main pan than it does off that stock pot. It's all surface area based, so the stock pot just doesn't give you all that much. So if I pull it off too soon off the main pan and put it into there, it just takes forever to boil that last little bit off out of the stock pot. So I find it a lot more convenient to just go off the main pan. I like checking on the RO every so often. I want it at 200 PSI. And right now she's about 205. Let's crack her down a little. Plus or minus a little bit's alright, but that's all the pure water coming off the pan. Or off the RO rather. Not off the pan. So that's actually more water coming off. Should I get you on the video? That's more water coming off than actually the pan is actually doing by itself. That's why it's so effective to have the reverse osmosis system going. And now that's pure water, so that's good drinking water. That's what RO was initially designed to, is actually take like salt water, like seawater, and make drinking water out of it. I just stick it in a hose to run it off the concrete. Makes it simpler. But there's also one of my collection systems. It's a 63-gallon tote on a wagon that I pull with the ATV. Otherwise, they get the IBC totes I'll take out with the tractor, haul it out into the woods, and dump straight into the IBC totes. Saves on having to do any sort of transferring afterwards. Or hitting your head on the easy up. So I go from there, check that. Check the head tank, make sure it has sap in it. Check the pan. Kind of do a round robin every few minutes. Hopefully get that syrup off soon. Sometimes if I'm boiling early in the morning, I'll make pancakes for breakfast, and when the kids come up, wake up, they'll bring the pancakes right out, and we'll just get fresh syrup right off the pan, right onto their pancakes. They find that fun. I'm not a big pancake guy myself. If I have time, I like French toast better, but they like pancakes better, so I make pancakes. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna check the quantity of sap up in that head tank. Interestingly, this drum actually brought like pepperoncinis in from Italy. Oh yeah, need to put some in there. At least many years ago, that's what it did. I washed it out, put that valve on the bottom. Works great as a head tank. I think its capacity is about 40 gallons, but I normally just put about 30 into it. That's an hour and a half or so of boiling, and then just bucket it in. Probably give her another bucket or so. So with the reverse osmosis system, what I generally will do is I just recirculate into the same tote until I've reduced the whole volume down to what I want it at. And then I transfer it out into a barrel just because it's easier to pull out of the barrel to put into that tank. And then I switch the RO to the next tote and go on from there. Did I just spill some? Yep. That's a bummer. But it's also bound to happen at some point, so. Oh well. What's the saying? No use crying over spilled sap? It's interesting too, just here in Michigan, there's some people that are just starting their first boil today. There's a couple people I know over on the west side of the state that are actually almost done with their season, which seems a little surprising to me. I don't know why they're done so early, but they said their sap's already turning sour, so who knows, maybe it'll end up being a shorter season this year if a lot of people have that going on. Normally our season lasts about 6 weeks or so. I've tapped as early as middle of January, and I've tapped as late as about March 1st. This year I got most of my taps in right in the middle of February, like 15th, 16th. So that's not bad. We're about on par. But I kind of feel like it might warm earlier this year, just based on like the other reports that people are saying from other states and other areas of Michigan even. And in which case, might just end up being a short season. But with how much I've gotten already, I've collected about 1,200 gallons of sap now in the last 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. That's not bad. That's not bad at all for an early season like we are. So I'm not going to complain. So hopefully it's not going to be too shortened of a season, but if it is, oh well, we got enough sap to make at least enough syrup to satisfy all the customers that are repeat customers, friends, family, that kind of thing. We always keep some too, then we end up giving away for Christmas presents, that kind of thing. Also, we like making maple candy with it. We do it to the soft candy stage at 235 degrees. So it ends up tasting almost more like a fudge consistency. And we always get people asking for us to bring that to like potlucks over the summer. And we'll end up going through probably 2 gallons a year just doing that candy. It's a big hit. And it's fairly easy to do, which is nice for us when we don't have anything else to bring to a potluck. Like, let's make up a batch of candy quick. So I generally stick about 10 quarts, 12 quarts aside for myself for the year. Sometimes a little more, but thereabouts. And then the rest of it we end up selling. Boiling away nicely. I'm going to shut that off. I want to get the depth down a little bit. That'll finish that sap off a little bit quicker and get us to drawing off a little bit sooner. Well, I guess any of you guys are any of you guys interested in watching the finished syrup come off the pan? If you are, I'll make sure I get it on the live here. Otherwise, I'll delay it a little bit, but 6 one way, half dozen the other. This wind is definitely nice pulling that steam off. Seems like it speeds the boil up a little bit. Professional grade, commercial grade setups have a exhaust hood over the top that kind of helps suck the steam off. Me, I let Mother Nature do it. But yeah, that's a steam off about, I'd say, 19 gallons an hour. That black tote there, that's the tote that I put all the concentrated sap in. It's sitting at about 9% sugar content there. Comes out of the tree about 1.5 to 2% sugar. And that's what the RO is doing, is pulling the water out and concentrating it more. Because all making maple syrup really is taking the liquid and making it higher sugar content. From the 2% out of the tree, or 1.5 or whatever, up to 66%. It's not bad when you can pull a whole lot of the water out first. I've had a couple trees over the years that'll produce more like 4 or 5% sugar content, at least at some point in the season, but that's uncommon. Normally it's more in that 1.5 area. And it's somewhat dependent upon species of maple. Sugar maple is the best, but then there's also red maple and silver maple in this area. Silver maple has like the lowest sugar content. A lot of those trees are more like 1 to 1.5, like on the 1 to 1.5. Sugar maples tend to be like 2.5. So you end up having to boil a lot more to get the same amount of syrup. Now they taste the same. I have not seen any taste difference between those species of maples, but I'd rather have the sugars. And thankfully I have mostly sugar maple on the property. Out of the like 220 trees I tap, I think only about 15 are red maples, and I don't tap any silvers. At least not this year. One of the properties down the road I have access to is mostly silver maples, and that's just, it's not bad. It's just this year I'm not driving down there to get the sap. Too busy with this, life, work, all of that. All right, let's go check the thermometer again. Should be getting pretty close. Yeah, close enough to get some off. So this is just pre-filter. I'm not sure actually what the material is, come to think of it. What I'm doing here is I call it a pre-filtering. I have a nice fancy filter press. It's a 5-plate bank filter press, like what, 1.5 feet long. All I'm doing here is trying to pull some of the, well, actually, why are you guys all the way over there? My apologies, I should have brought you in closer before I did this. There we go. My goal with this is just to pull off some of the minerals and such, to not plug up the main filter quite as quickly. But there we are. It's finished syrup draining off right there. You could bottle that right now and consume it. You can put it right on straight onto pancakes, whatever you need to do. The minerals and it's called sugar sand. Some people call it sugar minerals. I think the technical terms for it's actually called niter. It's just minerals that fall out of suspension of the syrup. Totally edible. It just doesn't look good in the bottom of your jar. So this is all basically more of just an aesthetic thing than anything. I'm not going to pull a ton off on this time. I think I'll pull about a gallon off. Just so you guys can see what it looks like. And as you can see, that color is not terribly dark. It will get darker as the season progresses, but that's not terribly dark, comparatively speaking. Basket just sits in there. But that's what we collected off, about a gallon. Just minerals. And you get an occasional piece of dirt or something too that's falling in, especially on a breezy day like today. And that's part of the reason too I end up filtering this again, just in case a leaf comes in or something. No sense in eating that. Then I'll rinse that off, use it again. She's just a bubbling. That's about the depth I like keeping that. 1.5 to 2 inches deep of liquid in the bottom of the pan. Obviously, the deeper you go, the more the pan holds, but then it takes more energy to get it to boil. I found the sweet spot to be about 1.5 to 2 inches deep. I get the fastest evaporation while still maintaining. I mean, technically, I'd probably get a faster evaporation if I went down to like 3/4 of an inch or an inch. But man, the risk of burning it at that point is a lot higher. So I end up keeping a little bit more in that. But like I said, 1.5, 2 inches, thereabouts. Any of you guys have any questions on the process or anything about the syrup that you want to see? I'd be more than happy to put the camera on it. Otherwise, guys, I think we're been on live for almost 40 minutes now. Only one of y'all is still watching. Thank you for whoever's still watching. Appreciate it. I think we'll wrap it up here, though. I'll probably do another live again either later tonight or tomorrow. Unless y'all just want to keep watching it. I don't know if you're interested in watching it keep boiling or not, but I don't want it to get boring for anyone either. Alright, I'm guessing that's Rude Mountain 60. Nice seeing you in, sir. Appreciate you taking time to stop by and watch. All right, guys. I'm going to call it for right now. Thank you so much for showing up and watching. I really appreciate it.